I didn't like AD in his press conference talking about if the doctors clear me. Hopefully the doctors clear me. He put a lot on the doctors. We had a doctor on my radio show, The Odd Couple, last night, and former NBA player, and they both said in a situation like this with the groin, a lot of times the doctor's going to ask you, how you feeling? Are you? Right. You think you can go? Because it's that, it's not like you got a torn ligament or something like that where the doctor's just like, you can't play. And so I almost feel like AD was almost getting a scapegoat. Like, if I don't play, don't blame me. Don't say I'm not a warrior. Don't say, oh, that's typical AD. He's never healthy. So I'm just reading into that, but I think there's some truth there. Look, you guys are right. Brandon, Nick, I picked the Lakers to get out of the West before the playoffs started. But it always was contingent on LeBron and Anthony Davis being healthy. I'm not going to destroy Nick if Philadelphia doesn't get out of the East and Joel Embiid's out the rest of the playoffs. I mean, I won't destroy him that much. I'll use that in the equation, all right? I'll factor that in. But with injuries, all bets are off. So I think tonight the Suns close out the Lakers. I don't necessarily expect Anthony Davis to play. So without Anthony Davis, I definitely think Phoenix beats them. With Anthony Davis, even if he plays, I just don't think he's going to be able to be effective because obviously the groin is a problem. But remember, before he injured his groin, he was dealing with the knee injury. And he was questionable for Game 4. And he wasn't effective before the groin injury. He was 2 for 9, 6 points in 19 minutes. So even if AD can play, I don't think he'll be able to be very effective, and I don't think he'll play long. And I think at this point in his career, I don't think LeBron can just carry a bunch of role players, some of whom aren't even playing well, like Dennis Schroeder, who gives him a goose egg. I don't think he can carry them over a team where 3 of the 4 best players without AD are on the other team.
Chris, I'm absolutely going to destroy you. All right? I hear what you're saying. If Philly doesn't make it out,
count, so
you're not
injuries
going to
don't
crush
count.
Nick. No. Let me tell you why I'm going to destroy you. Because all year I've been saying you can't count on AD. Right before this series started, I said I'm going with the Suns because you can't count on AD. You chose to go out there and pick these boys. You chose to believe in AD. He's been unhealthy all year. He's been inconsistent all year. So, yes, I'm absolutely going to destroy you. I'm going to destroy Nick and anybody else who went out there and picked this team. They weren't a great team down the stretch. We know that. So who wins tonight? The Suns win because you don't have AD, and then you have LeBron. I do think LeBron James is going to be on fire. I do think he's going to play big. But this Suns team, they're young, they're fiery, and they're hungry. They want to get it done. They're a good team. There's a reason why they're the number 2 seed headed into this playoffs, Nick. So I'm going with the Suns, of course, to close out this series.
Brandon, when you're going through the list of people to destroy for picking the Lakers to beat the Suns, make sure you include Brandon Marshall from Monday morning. Because once the Suns dealt with an injury, you also picked the Lakers. Once the Suns dealt with an injury, the series ended in midway through the second. No, that happened. It happened, Brandon. If you're not going to say Broussard is allowed to say anything about Anthony Davis, we all were here for it.
I said it's going to be damn near impossible. I left a little bit out.
Brandon, you gave us the second the series ended with 9 minutes and 19 seconds left in the second quarter of Game 1. The Lakers won So just make sure you include yourself on the list. Luckily, though, Brandon, you're not going to have to destroy any of us because the Lakers are going to win tonight. And that obviously, Wilds, is actually bad news for me. The Lakers winning tonight, because I'm not a Lakers fan, I'm a LeBron fan, and winning tonight is the worst thing that can happen to LeBron. Because what do we know? We know that first-round exits don't count against you, but finals losses do. So by winning tonight, you're still eligible for a finals loss, so that's no good. And we also know that being the greatest player ever is not actually about being the greatest player ever. It's who is the most similar to Jordan. And one place that Jordan has LeBron just cooked is first-round losses. He's got 3 of them. LeBron's got none. So by winning tonight, LeBron's not going to have the opportunity to get to 1. And it's like, well, if I do it 2 more times, then I've equaled Michael. But the Lakers aren't going to lose. This is very simple. Here's when series are at 3-2 Wilds, there's 3 questions you should ask yourself. And if the answer to all 3 is the same, then picking the series is very simple. And if there's some divergence, then you got to think on it. First question is, who's up in the series? Second question is, who is the home team in Game 6? And the third question is, who do you trust more in Game 7? So, for example, Clippers-Mavs. The Mavs are the answer for all 3. The Mavs are up in the series, the Mavs are home in Game 6, and at least for me, the Mavs are the team you trust more in Game 7. That is a very easy series to pick. Denver-Portland, a little more complicated, right? Denver's up in the series, but Portland's the home team in Game 6. And who do you trust more in Game 7? I don't know. We've seen both these teams win a Game 7. We saw Portland win a Game 7 in Denver. We saw Denver win a couple Game 7s last year, so it's a bit of a coin flip. This series, who's up in the series? Phoenix. Who's at home in Game 6? The Lakers. Who do you trust more in a Game 7? Well, that is obvious, the team with LeBron. And being down 3-2 Wilds historically is really, really bad for every team, except for teams with LeBron James on them. And we can show you those numbers over the last decade just real quick, and then I'll throw it to you, Wilds. Can we show that full screen? Over the last decade, 8-1, down 3-2 in the playoffs. They've won 4 of those series. The one he didn't win was the 2015 finals, where his second best player was Mozgov. He's scored 30 points in every single one of those games, Wilds, except for one. The one where he didn't score 30 was a Game 7 of the finals, where he had a triple-double and the greatest defensive play in the history of the league to beat the 73-win Warriors. So, I'm going to go with LeBron tonight, Wilds. And then we have a Game 7, which means, let's be honest, both teams are facing elimination tonight. The Lakers are facing elimination, and the Suns are facing elimination, because you can't beat LeBron in the Game 7.
Okay. A quick question for you, buddy. When you were sort of laying out that argument, were you trying to convince me, Brandon, Jenna, and Broussard and all of America? Or were you trying to convince yourself? Because as soon as you start talking about Jordan legacy and first-round exits, I get a little, I'm like, uh-oh, Nick is nervous. Because sometimes we ask, is Nick nervous about blank? And he's like, I'm never nervous. And to the point where in the morning meetings, we're like, you know what? Stop asking the question, because he's going to say he's not nervous. He's always going to say he's not nervous. But once we start hearing about legacy talk, once we start hearing about Jordan talk, that's when you get nervous. And I know you have all your stats, and they were very impressive. But we also had a stat that LeBron doesn't lose back-to-back games in the first round. And that happened too. And Broussard, I'm going to throw it to you to just keep Nick quiet for a second. You can take him off the screen, push him off. There we go. Okay, Broussard, here's the thing I'm worried about. I think this game's going to be over in the first 10 minutes if the Suns come out and push it. The championship DNA sword cuts both ways. We always talk about championship DNA. They know what it takes. Here's the thing. You know what it takes, so you might know if you don't have what it takes. And LeBron's not in zero dark 30 mode. LeBron's out there tweeting about awards that his tequila won. I'm not sure that when LeBron looks down the road and says, you know what? We don't have what it takes. We don't have what. And if the Suns come out fast and early, I think the Lakers could just give it up a little bit. That's my prediction. First 10 minutes.
I don't think LeBron will throw in the towel. I think he'll go down swinging, but the rest of the guys just aren't that good. And Nick can bring up all the Game 7s and all that, and LeBron has certainly been tremendous in elimination games. But what he didn't bring up was this guy named Father Time. All right, and I'm not saying Father Time has tackled LeBron. Guy. He hasn't tackled LeBron, but he's knocked on the door and he's walked in. He's in the house now. And it's evident. LeBron has been aggressive. LeBron has been aggressive for 2 quarters this series. All right? The third quarter in what was that, Game 3, when they kind of looked like they took control of the series, he was going to the hole, taking Jay Crowder at will. I loved it. But remember, the first half, he was passive. And then he was aggressive in the first quarter of Game 5, but wasn't delivering. He settled for the 3, and that's a sign of aging. Jordan, Kobe, they all shot far more jump shots as they got older. 43% of LeBron's field goal attempts in this series have been three-pointers. LeBron's not Steph Curry. He's not a great three-point shooter. He's a streaky one. But he continues to put up the three because Father Time is tapping him on the shoulder. Again, hadn't tackled him. This doesn't mean LeBron with other great players can't win a championship, but he's not about to just put everybody on his back and go 45-15 like he did in Boston or 51-8-8 like he did in Golden State.
Yeah, listen, I'm not ready to go there, Chris. I mean, Father Time is on everybody's back. But, you know, look at this season. LeBron James dealt with a big injury. That's why he's not there. Look what he was doing before, you know, he went down. He can still impact the game in a major way, whether it's shooting. Hell, he was shooting, you know, like Ray Allen this year. So he can still impact the game. We saw Michael Jordan develop that fadeaway shot and that jumper, and that extended his career. You always have to evolve as an athlete, definitely on the basketball court. But can we put the LeBron James archivist, the analyst, the chronicler, the LeBron historian on the screen? Yeah. It sounds like you're hedging your bet. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like you're trying to get ahead of the firestorm, the story that's going to come after tonight's game when they lose. Right. You're talking about, LeBron James, he's never lost here, so this is a good thing for him. Like all these things that you're saying. Are you hedging your bet?
Okay, Brandon, I know I'm the biggest gambler on the show, but you dabble. You should know enough about hedging bets that it is quite literally, even when it has been in my interest, something I've never done. If there was ever an opportunity to hedge the bet, I would have taken a page out of the Brandon Marshall book and said, injury happened, now my pick's off. Chris Paul down, switching the pick. I could have done it. Anthony Davis hurt, now my pick's off. I'm not hedging my bet. But to answer Wild's point and your point, it is not fear or nervousness or anxiety that you are hearing in my voice. It is vitriolic anger. Because I saw my buddy Chris Broussard have to go on every show yesterday, other than this one, and preemptively defend LeBron's legacy. Because those are the questions being asked. What would a first-round loss do to his legacy? And I think it is, and I don't use this word lightly, an offensive question. They wanted to ask it on this show, and I nixed it because it's ludicrous. But I know it's coming. At some point, we are going to find a way, unless they win the title again. So it's anger you're hearing, Jenna, not fear, anger.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.